Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Nightman Season 2, Episode 4, Book of the Dead. This is more of a Halloween type episode. Now, I've talked about Nightman on my channel just recently. Go watch that. It's an older show from the early 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s. It was a Marvel superhero show. Not necessarily the best show they ever created, but it was pretty creative. It's just, there are flaws in the show because it is an era of its time with low budget CGI and, but it was episodic like television. So in this episode, it's actually one of my episodes I like. It's one of my fave. It's pretty solid. Like I said before, not the best show ever, but this was a pretty solid episode. And it deals with a cult-like group looking for the Book of the Dead. The Necromancer's Tale, as it's called. And so we see two men at a gravesite. One man is digging a hole in a gravesite. And like the other guy is like a doctor, professor type person. Dr. Stratton, and he's instructing his lackey, a student, to dig up like the grave and look for the book. When they find it, they also find a corpse there. And then all of a sudden, like a card appears and it says, whoever touches this book and removes it from his gravesite or a resting place or whatever will be cursed for like eternity, some crap like that. So of course he's spooked and he doesn't want to touch it. But the doctor came armed and forces the man to take the book. And so, like, we don't know exactly what this doctor wants to do with the book. But then, like, the student is pleading with him, talking about, if you even just open this book and start reading from it, it will unleash, like, all kind of unholy stuff upon the world. Kind of like the Evil Dead. And the doctor doesn't care. He wants it for his own, like, doing. And he shoots the man dead, takes the book. So then it cuts from that to, like, the House of Soul, where we meet Johnny Domino, our hero. He's in his civilian clothes doing what he does, plus playing the saxophone. I don't know if the actor Matt knows how to play the saxophone in real life, but my God, this man looks like he's been doing it for years. He looks like an ace doing it. And there's a woman singing. She is a real life singer, not sure if she's an actress. They normally get like people to like perform on their show. She is amazing. The song is uninterrupted. You get to hear it for all its glory. She has a beautiful, elegant voice. Well, when they're at the House of Soul, he meets his friend Raleigh and they are greeted by a woman. Now Johnny is at the bar. He is drinking and he normally does not drink, but it's his father's favorite drink. His father died just like 3 episodes ago. And so like, he's really mourning this, which is ironic because this show really doesn't delve in like a lot of deep stuff and story arcs. And so after this episode, you'll pretty much never see him mourn his father again, except for one episode when it's revealed he hasn't dated since his dad's passing. And so the woman, assistant doctor lady named Trudy, she is an assistant to Dr. Walton. Dr. Walton is the man from season 1 who discovered Johnny and his special abilities when he was struck by lightning. Dr. Walton was written off because in season 2 they moved to Canada and everybody either left the show and Raleigh got like recast. And so she tells him that, Dr. Stratton informed him that there is this like cult-like thing known as the Lords of Magicians. And they are looking for the Book of the Dead. And there were 4 books written around like starting in the 60s. And there was a doctor that died, and this other doctor, he's using it for nefarious like reasons, you know what I'm saying? But nobody knows exactly why. But she does know that his wife has cancer. And then 4 days ago, all of a sudden, like the staff that's supposed to help were like let go. So she think he has the book and he's gonna resurrect his dead wife or something. So she wants Johnny to get like a read on like his home and stuff like that, because Johnny has the ability, like a premonition type abilities when he was struck by lightning. So they go, and she has like such a fake British accent. So, anyways, they go to the house and everything, and Dr. Stratton is very pleased to see them. He knows who Johnny is because of the music, and he knows who Trudy is because of Dr. Walton. So, as they're in the house, he excuses himself to go to the restroom, but he's picking up vibe of the doctor and the assistant, like, digging up the grave. And then so he's looking around, he looks out the window, and there's a woman in the garden. She comes in the house and she's talking to Johnny, talking about like there's gonna be like a new order, like the old order will take over and some crap like that. She's talking weird. Sometimes the dialogue is a little iffy in this show. He's getting a vibe off her. He's seeing her as a vampire. I don't understand that, but whatever. And stuff. There's some things in this episode that makes absolutely no sense. But after she freaks him out a little bit more, he runs down and he gets Trudy. He tells her, yeah, something's definitely up with these two. So, the detective lady, I forget her name, but she's investigating the murder of the assistant. And while she's at the gravesite, there's an old man talking to her, talking about he's seen this before, in person, and like you have to find like the book and blah blah and stop all this craziness from happening. He sounds like a crazy old kook, and that's how she assumes it. So anyways, Johnny, he suits up and everything because he knows that whatever the doctor has the book for, after he resurrected his wife from the dead, something's gonna happen tonight. And so like when Johnny goes to the gravesite, we see Dr. Stratton and his wife, and they're reading from the book. And so Johnny tries to stop him, but the doctor resurrects like a statue of like a warrior. The statue grabs like Johnny and they struggle and everything. Raleigh and Trudy, they show up to help, but Raleigh does not want to help once he starts seeing dead people coming from the grave and everything. The makeup on the zombies is amazing. And so Johnny is too late. And a man by the name of Bazoom is like resurrected, and it gets so corny after this. He's like, Lucy, I'm home. I'm like, what the world? And it's a little bit more like humor because this was like late 90s, early 2000s. But then the humor stops, thank God, after that. And so he talks about like, Dr. Stratton's all like, you have to close the portal and everything now because, the demon's gonna keep coming and blah, 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 blah. And where's my reward? Basically what it is that he married. See, the girl in this that got resurrected, the vampire lady, her father is the dude who got resurrected from the ground. And Dr. Stratton wants immortality and stuff. Well, he did not bank on this dude releasing demons as well. He didn't sign up for that, so he tries to stop them. For Bazoom to like literally burn off his hand, and we see it and it looks cool. He kills him and everything. And so Johnny is able to get the statue off him by flying in the air because he's able to fly with a gravity belt, and he drops the statue, breaking and everything. Bazoom says some more stupid stuff and talking about how like, you're never gonna stop me and everything. And so Trudy, well, Nightman, he also has a cloak of invisibility. So he uses it and steals the book, right? And so, like, there's demons, zombies everywhere, and they're coming. They're basically just zombies. I still don't understand how the vampire girl fits in. But, Trudy's reading from the book, and she says the incantation that makes the zombies go back into the ground. This pisses off the bad guy, and he burns the book. The book flames burns Trudy's hands, and so he flies away, and Nightman goes after him. Bazul, he like uses his powers and he uses them to animate like these gargoyle statues. It's really terrible CGI, really, really terrible CGI. But Johnny, or Nightman, I should say, is able to defeat the gargoyles with like his laser vision and everything. But Bazul and his daughter, like, they get away. So anyway, Trudy is now cursed with a sickness. She's burning up with a fever. It's the magic from like burning the book and everything like that and touching the book. And so Raleigh and Johnny are kind of like, how the heck are we gonna like save her? We have to use magic. Well, they realized Bazul back in the 60s wrote a book. And Raleigh tells him, this dude ain't gonna write like, how to stop him in the freaking book. But they start doing some more research and they realize something. There are 4 books total. They have the 4th. And apparently when he wrote these books, he was under like some type of like almost kind of like a demonic possession. And the first book is the only one where he used good magic. The other ones are when, he started descending into madness and dark magic. So they realized if anything's going to defeat it, it has to be the first book. So he goes to like the bookshop and he's looking for the book, but it's kind of like the what do they call it? Not a remodel, but kind of like a revised version. He's looking for the original one, but they can't find the original one. And there the old man from the grave shows up. And he tells him like, I can sense like, you've been like chosen to like defeat evil and blah 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 blah. And like I have 8 hours to teach you everything I know about these books, because he was once the assistant of Bazul and everything. And he said in that 9th hour, you must defeat Bazul or all is lost and everything. And so while this is going on, Vampire Girl is pretending to be a hooker and she bites 2 dudes. I still don't understand the whole vampire thing and all this other crap. In fact, I kind of forget what happens to her after this. But anyway, Detective Lady is still investigating stuff, and Bazul has decided to resurrect every dead person in town, whether they just died recently or years ago. Ones from years ago look like awesome zombies. They did a great job on the prosthetics and makeup. Johnny comes back after knowing the spells that he needs to defeat Bazul. Some of the zombies come up, but it's not even a battle. That's the problem with this show. It's little to no action and stuff. The suit looks cool, like I said in my rundown review, but it's little to no action. When the detective sees the zombies walking around, she doesn't even shoot them. She just looks at them. I'm just kind of like, I don't get that. But anyway, Johnny and like, Bazul, they're like blasting each other and everything, and Johnny's saying like the spells that's supposed to like stop all this craziness. He's trying to counter it, but it's to no prevail, and he ends up getting defeated by like Johnny reciting the like the spells like from the good magic and stuff. He is like destroyed. I forget exactly how he's destroyed. I don't know if he burns or whatever. But like after it's all over, then Trudy wakes up, she's all healed, and Nightman has defeated all evil, and he flies off and everything. And all of a sudden the old man from the grave is now wearing a white cloak, and he's happy that all has been preserved in life and everything. And it's not the best episode, but it's pretty solid. That's saying a lot for this show. I just wish there could have been some zombie fighting action. That would have been great. You know what I'm saying? But sadly there was not. And it really would have kicked that episode up if it would have been some action. Like, there's rarely ever any action, and it's probably because the suit is probably hard to maneuver around. And, they probably just figure, oh, we'll just stick to the story and not action. But the show needs action and everything. And, yeah, it's just, I give them, like, kudos for the prosthetics and makeup on the zombies. Like, those look great. The Book of the Dead looks pretty cool. Bazul's kind of like a very weak villain. I still don't understand his vampire daughter and everything. I didn't like the humor in it, but like, everything from Trudy, trying to stop everything. I like how Raleigh is kind of like, screw this, I'm leaving and everything. That was cool. And it kind of took me by surprise because, you expect Dr. Stratton to be the main villain. Wasn't expecting him to resurrect some dude who's like the reincarnation of like some type of cult leader dude from like back in the day and like everything like that. So I do like that nice twist and surprise, but I don't know, this Dr. Stratton seemed more intimidating as like a villain than Bazul did and stuff. And I really did not appreciate the humor. They talking about Lucy, I'm home. I'm just like, what the world are you talking about, man? But I do like how they made Johnny mourn over his father. 'Cause the dude died, and after he died in the second episode, he's just nonchalant doing his everyday thing. And it's kind of like, dude, this show needed more depth. If this show would have been made today, oh, the CGI would have been better, and they would have had more compelling stories and a story arc, and there would have been action. And it's kind of a shame they won't reboot the series. I mean, it's not exactly like the worst, most terrible show ever. It did last 2 seasons, but it's an okay, all right like series. Like I said before, it's not the greatest, it's not necessarily the worst, it's just borderline. It's just some things need to be tweaked, what I'm saying. But yeah, that wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.